Let's get some business news for you now. Kate Moody is here with us in the studio. And Kate, we're going to start with one of the world's biggest companies. This is Uber, of course. It's really revolutionised the way we travel. The founder, co-founder and CEO is stepping down.
That's right. Just a week after announcing that he'd be taking a leave of absence, Travis Kalanick has stepped away from the ride-sharing app, which he co-founded back in 2009. Pressure had continued to grow on him in the wake of an investigation into sexual harassment and an aggressive culture at the company. A number of top executives had left over the past year. Now, for more insight into this, let's speak to Ross Gerber, chief executive of the investment firm Gerber Kawasaki in California. Ross, thank you for speaking to us. This resignation is widely being seen as good news for Uber. Do you think it was inevitable?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's great news for Uber. And the leave of absence with some sort of committee running the company was really just a last attempt by Kalanick to maintain control of the company. But clearly the shareholders weren't going to deal with that. And I think it was the smart move for him to resign.
Now, a lot of the controversy had been focused on these allegations of sexual harassment and more broadly, a sexist, rather macho work culture. Can Uber change that environment?
Oh, absolutely. And I think they have the right person to do it in Arianna Huffington, who I think is going to take the lead here in running the transition to new management. So I would expect a massive cultural shift. They've already cleared out most of the problem executives. And I think it's an easy shift to make. You know, that culture has no place in today's modern workplace.
But it's something that is also talked about more broadly in Silicon Valley. Do you think that these changes might reverberate throughout that tech sector?
I hope it does. It's time to get rid of founders who can't run companies, who then raise, billions of dollars and have no accountability to shareholders, who then burn all this capital. So we've got a list of companies that we hope the CEOs are forced out or resign.
Now, what about Uber's finances? Of course, despite having revolutionized travel around the world, the company has yet to turn a profit. Do you think Uber is now a good investment?
No, I don't. I tend to avoid investments that are in the middle of management upheavals. I tend to prefer companies that are doing well, like Facebook. So I think it's a time to sit back and watch and see what changes they make. And then if they make the appropriate changes, maybe it becomes a decent investment. But I think the play is really Lyft. And I think Lyft has a great opportunity to grow their business right now. And I know lots of young people who have switched from Uber to Lyft just on a moral basis. And I think that that's going to continue. So, and with Google's support, I think Lyft is a decent competitor.
Do you think this management shakeup might push Uber closer towards an IPO on the stock market?
No, I think it's the opposite. I think it pushes Uber closer to an acquisition where they would be bought by another company. So or management. So I think that if you're going to go into the public markets and play with people like me, you better have a good business, because we're going to short you and we're going to put you out of business if you don't run your business right in the public markets. And that's why so many companies have hidden on the private markets, because they're safer there.
Now, you were mentioning Lyft as the top competitor in the United States. What does Uber need to do to take the lead again? It's a market, of course, that it used to be the leader in. What does it have to do? Is it just a question of management, or are there more business changes that need to be made?
Well, I still think Uber's the leader. They're making the changes already, like compensating the drivers better. Uber has cut the fare rate so low that the drivers are basically starving. And so adding tipping was just an obvious great thing for Uber to add. They did that yesterday. Smart move. They need to take care of their drivers, and I think they'll get better results. But most importantly, I think Uber has to culturally change from a somewhat corrupt culture to one of following rules and doing things the right way, even if it takes longer, even if you have to go through more steps to get it done. So I see them pulling back from a lot of markets and focusing hopefully on their profitable ones.
Ross Gerber, thank you so much for joining us from Santa Monica. Let's check in on the day's trading action now. Wall Street is a mixed picture here. The Nasdaq is up as tech stocks resume their trading boom. The S&P 500 and Dow Jones are both trading just underneath the flat line there. Energy prices are up slightly as the U.S. said its oil stockpile had decreased. European stocks closed down.